gonna get my blanket, y'all, because I'm a little scared. Okay. Hey my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, and if you're a new friend here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Do all that you gotta do, okay? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Hey, 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 hey. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about the mysterious death surrounding Elisa Lam and all of the theories behind her death. So let's get right into the story. That was my impression of a vampire. So Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old Canadian college student who studied at the University of British Columbia. Elisa decided to take a solo West Coast tour trip in January 2013, where she took an Amtrak to California and arrived in Los Angeles on January 26th of 2013. 2 days later, she checked into the Cecil Hotel. So very quickly, I kind of wanted to get into the background of some stories surrounding the Cecil Hotel and why it holds such a dark and sinister energy behind it. So the Cecil Hotel was known to be one of the most deadliest hotels in Los Angeles, or also known as the most haunted hotel in LA, with so much crime, suicides, and murders happening at this hotel.
Police are searching for a 6-foot-tall man with dark curly hair and badly stained teeth, dubbed the Night Stalker, who may have committed 13 murders and 12 grisly assaults in the San Gabriel and San Fernando Valley since February. The crimes are different, but the method is always the same. He enters private homes at night through an unlocked door or open window and hunts down his prey while they sleep. Victims range between the ages of 16 and 80, from women alone to couples with children. Some have been strangled, some shot. Most of the women have been raped. What baffles police is that the attacks are random.
It's like having our neighborhood raped itself. Someone violated our sanctuary.
I've left my windows open before, but not anymore.
Gun stores report they can't keep handguns in stock.
I want to be able to defend myself.
The investigative task force is hampered by a psychological profile that differs from most serial killers. The investigation is the largest in Los Angeles County since the Hillside Strangler murdered 13 women in the late 70s. But the random nature of these attacks, with seemingly no motive, may make this case even more difficult to solve. Nadine Berger, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Richard Ramirez, who was infamously known as the Night Stalker, stayed at this hotel while he was committing all of his crimes. He was an American serial killer who terrorized the residents of Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Tortured, killed, then sliced in half at the waist with surgical precision.
50 years ago tonight, that discovery began a mystery that would become the most infamous unsolved murder in the history of Los Angeles and maybe the United States.
Tony Valdez is live in the Crenshaw district with a look at the Black Dahlia murder. Tony.
Christine, this is Norton Avenue between Coliseum Street and 39th. 50 years ago, most of these homes hadn't been built. And so, in the very early morning hours of Wednesday, January 15th, 1947, someone who had a dead body to get rid of decided that this spot right about here would be the perfect place to dump it. The first person to see the body up close was Los Angeles Examiner reporter Will Fowler. He heard the call on his police radio and arrived before anyone else.
When I got up to it, I turned to my photographer and I said, "Hey, Felix," I said, "this woman's cut in half."
The pictures that Felix Pagel took were much too gruesome, even for a Hearst newspaper. So the Examiner's art department painted a blanket over the body and airbrushed away the grotesque damage to the woman's face. Here's the same photo in its nearly original form. Body details have been deliberately removed.
Where the body was cut in half, it was done very, very, almost professionally, like a meat cutter or a guy who had knowledge of dressing deer down in the field or something like that.
Fowler also saw evidence of torture and mutilation all over the girl's body. Plus, it had been drained of all its blood, scrubbed clean with a bristle brush, and her hair had been shampooed.
The only thing is I touched her eyes because they were open and I figured they should be closed.
Within hours, instead of days, there was a positive identification. The dead woman was 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, Her photo and her fingerprints were on file because she had worked at Camp Cook near Santa Barbara during World War II.
The Black Dahlia was also rumored to stay at this hotel before she was found murdered. The Black Dahlia was an American woman who was found murdered in Los Angeles. Her case became highly publicized due to the graphic nature of her murder, and her case is still considered unsolved. So in September of 1944, there was a young girl by the name of Dorothy Jean Purcell. She was 19 at the time. She was sharing a room at the Cecil Hotel with her boyfriend, who was 38 at the time. That's kind of creepy, but you know, times were different back then, I guess. So at the time, Dorothy was apparently unaware that she was pregnant, and she went into labor that same night that she checked into the hotel. She went to the bathroom where she gave birth, and thinking the baby was dead, she proceeded to throw the baby out of the window. She was later charged with murder and testified that she just did not want to wake her boyfriend up at the time. At the trial, there was 3 psychiatrists that claimed that she was mentally confused at the time of the incident. She was found not guilty for reasons of insanity. On June 4th of 1964, a hotel worker at the Cecil Hotel discovered Pigeon Goldie Osgood dead in her room. She had been raped, stabbed, and beaten to death. Osgood was well known in the area and had earned her nickname Pigeon Goldie because she was always seen feeding pigeons at nearby parks. Her body was found next to a Dodgers cap that she would always wear alongside a sack full of bird seeds, and her murder also remains unsolved today. So on October 12th of 1962, Pauline Otten, who was 27 at the time, jumped out of her window after an argument with her estranged husband, Dewey. He had left the room at the time, and when Pauline decided to jump, she I don't know if it's an accident or not, but she ended up jumping on top of a pedestrian and killing them both instantly. If you really think about it, staying at hotels is so scary. Like, can you imagine how much bad energy is tied to every single room that you've ever stayed in? How many people have stayed in that room? How many people have slept in the same bed that you slept in? How many bad things have happened in that room? It's just... Okay, so now that we covered a little bit of history surrounding the Cecil Hotel, I wanted to jump back to Elisa Lam's story. Elisa was initially assigned to share a room on the 5th floor with other roommates. I'm not sure if they were also traveling. I don't know what the situation was. Point is, she was assigned a shared room. However, that was quickly changed due to her roommates complaining of some odd behavior that she was exhibiting. So on January 31st of 2013, she was scheduled to check out of the hotel to go to Santa Cruz that day. Her family did not hear from her that day, and that was not like Elisa to do. She made it always a point to stay connected with her family and stay in contact with them every single day that she traveled. So at that point, her family ended up calling the Los Angeles Police Department, and shortly thereafter, a search began, and her family then proceeded to fly to LA in order to help with the search. So police then searched Elisa's room and found no sign of her. They had their dogs search all over the building, on the rooftop, but were unable to detect her scent anywhere. So then on February 15th, the LAPD then released a video of Elisa Lam's last known sighting, and it was recorded inside of the Cecil Hotel, and I'm gonna play a clip for you guys right now. Several theories began to sprout from this video, and that's something that I want to get into later in the video. As the search for Elisa Lam continued, guests started complaining about strange odor, low water pressure, and some were complaining that the taste of the water was super off. Finally, on February 19th, Santiago Lopez, who was a staff member at the hotel, inspected the water tanks where he found Elisa's dead and naked body floating in the water. And she had been in that tank for 18 days. I was going over her autopsy reports, and her autopsy determined that the cause of her death was accidental due to drowning. And diving into the autopsy notes, it states that she indeed did have a bipolar disorder, and her body showed no signs of trauma. A toxicology report was also administered, but they didn't find any traces of, say, opioids, marijuana, alcohol. Any other recreational drugs were not found in her body. The only thing that did show up was her medication that she had been taking for her bipolar disorder. So there was virtually no evidence showing of foul play. And if she had been murdered, you would think that there would be signs of struggle or signs of blunt force trauma. And in this case, that was not the case. So now we're going to get into the theories surrounding Elisa Lam's story. And bear with me, y'all, because there's about 6 that I could compile together, and hopefully I got them all. If not, then feel free to leave in the comments below what theories you believe or know of. Many believe that while she was in the elevator, she became possessed, and that her possession led her to commit suicide. The second one that I want to talk about is that there's this Japanese movie that came out in 2002 called Dark Water. This theory tripped me out the most, y'all, because the coincidences are a little too similar, okay? So in this movie, Dark Water, people were complaining about how unclean the water was. There was creepy elevator scenes, and a body decomposing in the water tanks was later revealed in the movie, which is freaky deaky. Another thing that really freaked me out about this theory is that the main character, you could see her wearing the exact same outfit that Elisa was wearing in the elevator. So this led a lot of people to believe that she maybe had some kind of fascination with this movie and wanted to recreate it in some kind of way, leading to her suicide, or just simply wanted to recreate it and it became an accident. So it's a really interesting theory to look at, and like I said before, the coincidences are way too similar and it's pretty freaky. So although no drugs were found in her system in her toxicology report, people still believe that she was on some kind of drugs or hallucinogens. I don't think that's very probable, just because I feel like toxicology reports are pretty accurate, and the only medication that was really found in her body was the 4 medications that she was taking for her bipolar disorder. So that's just a theory people have. I personally believe that there's kind of no way that that could have happened, but what do you guys think? When her bipolar disorder became known to the public, the theory that she was having a manic or psychotic episode kind of became the most logical theory to believe in at the time. So like I said before, Elisa was taking 4 separate medications for her bipolar disorder, so there's a possibility that these medications could have made her hallucinate at the time. Others argued that this video had been tampered with prior to handing it over to police. Besides the timestamps being covered, people claim that there was parts of the video that had been slowed down, and there was almost a minute of footage that was missing, leading people to believe that there was foul play. Theory number 6 is a speculation that a hotel staff member could have killed her. Not to mention that hotel staff members do have the ability to navigate the hotel without triggering any alarms. So it would make sense if a hotel staff member could have played a part in Elisa's death. Going back to the footage of her inside of the elevator, it does seem like she's hiding or trying to get away or running away from something or someone. So it's an interesting theory to look at when you're looking at that footage. One thing that I think I forgot to leave in this video is how strange it is that Elisa was able to get up to the water tanks. When Santiago, the staff member that found Elisa Lam in the water tanks, he stated that whenever he went to go up there to go look, he mentioned that he had to disarm the alarm of the door that entered the rooftop where the water tanks were. I personally don't know what to believe. I feel Like, there's a lot of things that don't add up, and I'm sure there's a lot of more information that we just are not aware of. We can only know what we know, right? What's out there. So yeah, guys, that was the story of Elisa Lam. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And again, please don't forget to subscribe and to like, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo!